Hello, and welcome to our introductory guide to Google Forms. Google Forms is a free online tool that educators can use to create assessments, surveys, and polls for their classrooms. This training is primarily to help educators that may be new to Google Forms familiarize themselves with the application and its key features. Please be aware that you will need a Google account to make a form of your own. If your district uses Google Apps for Education, you should use your district-managed Google account. Our hope is that this will help you become more comfortable with implementing this wonderful tool in your classrooms. By the end of this training, you will be able to create an assessment, quiz, survey, or poll in Google Forms. You will also be able to utilize basic grading and data features of Google Forms. For those new to Forms, here are some pros and cons to consider before using this application. The major advantages are that it is free and very user-friendly to both teacher and student. Other advantages include features such as several ways to view data collected, the ability to collect email addresses, several ways to share your content, and most importantly for educators, automatic grading. The primary disadvantage is that it requires an internet connection to use, so this is much easier to use in the classroom if your school uses one-to-one technology. It also still has some limitations on types of content you can embed into a form, but it updates and frequently adds features that teachers often request. So let's get started making your first form. Please follow along with the tutorial and pause as you need to. The best way to learn this process is by doing it yourself. As this tutorial is aimed for classroom use, we will be making a quiz in this demonstration. First, go to www.google.com and sign in using the icon at the top right of the page. Once signed in, you may access it through Google Drive, selecting New, then scrolling down to Forms and selecting either blank or from a template. You may also choose to go directly to Forms by scrolling down the waffle menu at the top right of the screen. For this tutorial, go ahead and select blank. Now it's time to build your own assessment. You may click on the Untitled Form line to give your form a title. You may also choose to add a description, where you can include instructions for your students. Now you may choose to add and edit your questions below. Note that it starts as a multiple choice for the first one, but you may select any of the item types displayed. The first 5 are more useful for assessment, but for those curious, File Upload is a place for respondents to upload a file, which is useful for math teachers wanting students to take pictures of their written work to show their work. Linear Scale and the Grid options are useful for surveys and data collection. Date and Time are useful for a form to help set schedules. As for constructing the item itself, just click on the question box and type what you want to ask. If you wish to attach an image to this question, or the answer choices, as you hover over the text box, you may click the photograph icon on the right and select any file to upload. This feature is useful for diagrams and screenshots of math problems built in an equation editor. For this multiple choice question, go ahead and add your first option and hit enter each time you are done typing an option. If you want to leave an open-ended choice, select Add Other. Once you are done, if you wish to scramble your multiple choices, you may use the Shuffle Option Order button in the triple dots menu in the lower right part of the item. If you do this, you have made multiple variations of this assessment without impacting the data output or grading. Now let's add a short answer that we probably should have added first, a text field for a name. Even with automatic email collection, this still makes for easier grading, and lets us show off a couple of other features of Google Forms. Click the plus icon to the right to add another item. There are other options to embed in this column as well if you desire, including images, videos, and section markers. For this tutorial, however, we are going to stay focused on the basics. Notice as you type name in this field, it automatically changes the type to short answer, as Google Forms tries to predict the most likely item type based on wording. You may click the required toggle to make it impossible to submit the form without answering this question. No more assignments with no name. But it is now a question after the first. That order looks wrong. Luckily, all items in forms can be dragged and dropped into the proper space, so we can fix this order now. Now take a moment on your own, pause the video, and come back once you've added another question or two of your own. Now that you've made your very own form, it's time to add the final behind-the-scenes touches. You should now click on the gear icon in the upper right of the form, which will bring up your various options. You may choose any and all of them, and they do exactly as they describe. It will only collect email addresses of those signed into a Google account. If you are using Google Apps for Education with your district, I do recommend restricting to trusted domains. For assessment, if you are using this for data-driven instruction, I would recommend limit to one response. Under the Quizzes tab is where the best part is hiding for educators using this for assessment. Make this a quiz will toggle points and auto-grading capability. Save your changes, and you will notice each multiple choice question now has an answer key. Simply click on a question, click Answer Key, amend the point values, and choose your correct answer. Click Edit Question to save your changes. Now take one last look at the final product by clicking the eyeball icon to make sure everything looks good from the student's perspective. If everything looks good, click the pencil icon to go back to your form. Once you are ready, hit send and choose the way to get your form to the intended audience. You can choose email, a link, or embed it in a website. If you are using Google Classroom, you may also post it directly there. And voila, your students are now ready to take your assessment. Now, for the other target for this presentation, the data. If you opt to use the grading feature, Google Forms allows you to see your data in various ways that can help drive instruction. The summary gives a nice clear readout of the basic data. It will also break down response per question. This is helpful for identifying topics that students are struggling with or where misconceptions may exist. The Question tab allows you to manually review specific questions. This is useful for short response and essay items, which unfortunately you still have to hand grade if they are more constructive than a one-word answer. You can view, grade, and give feedback to all responses on a single page for each question. It also leaves the respondent's name anonymous, unless you hover over the blue One Response text. This allows for more fair, unbiased grading, as it will still attach that grade and feedback to that student's form. The Individual tab allows you to view and grade forms one response at a time. You can see all of a single student's answers in one place. This is helpful if you have multi-stage response style questions, so you can better see their thought process from item to item. Finally, if none of those data layouts are what you want, or your data is better suited for it, you may have Google Forms generate a spreadsheet. Just click the little spreadsheet icon on the upper right of your responses. After the prompt, it will generate a full spreadsheet with all of your current data and place it in your Google Drive. The best part is that any future responses will automatically populate that same spreadsheet in real time. If you do not feel like looking for it in Google Drive, you may click the spreadsheet icon again once it has been generated. Let's check in as we wrap up this presentation to make sure we met our objectives. Today, we created a quiz in Google Forms from start to finish, meeting our first objective. We also gave details on how to use some grading features and view data outputs in Google Forms, meeting our second objective. Here are some links that can be of help if you wish to learn more about what you can do in Google Forms. We have only scratched the surface of what you can do. For example, I highly suggest the tutorials here on differentiating instruction using the branching paths feature of Google Forms. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to ask questions and share your ideas in the comments section. We hope you are more comfortable using Google Forms in your classroom.